Sign up to Bityard today, deposit $100 to qualify for the wallet token airdrop. Also take part in the USDT perpetual testing period for a chance to win a brand new iPhone 13. Take a look on my Telegram for further details. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'll try and make a quick video then as the CPI inflation data has come out now for America, and markets are trying to digest it. In fact, Nasdaq are really struggling to make any kind of choice over this. It doesn't look particularly good, unfortunately, for Nasdaq, which obviously the correlation between Nasdaq and Bitcoin is quite high these days, as Bitcoin sucked into traditional markets quite well. So a brief rundown. Yeah, it went up again. Inflation in the US went up again by 0.3%, down. Well, it's the way that you interpret this, isn't it? Really, last month was 1.2% higher. Today's inflation report was 1.3% higher. So it's coming down, but it's not going down. So that is not going to add too much incentive for people to get in at this particular moment. As we can see, the Nasdaq pretty much seeing it in the same way that I can. It doesn't matter how you dress that figure up; it's still higher inflation, which means that there is still going to have to be it's going to have to be dealt with, and I would expect that next month, I mean, we've said this the whole time anyway, next month's probably going to have a 0.5 basis points, so 0.5% basis point rate hike. That'll be scheduled for next month, and then we'll get the inflation report next month as well. We'll see how last month's, or should I say, just this most recent rate hike of 0.5% has been digested within the markets, which I expect at that point will start to come down. So which is good, So we were talking on the live stream about how Bitcoin is the only thing to focus on for the crypto market, and it certainly seems to be the case today. I mean, it sounded like, and probably have done actually on at least the Patreon live streams, because obviously we look at lots of different altcoins. That's the whole point of it, really. We look at anything, stocks and whatever. But we were looking at, feels like for the last couple of weeks now, I say, look, I know we're coming down. Everything looks like it's coming down, especially when we had that short signal as well. So that, from about 39,000. Says, look, everything's coming down, if you want to incrementally buy things, then I would really suggest that the only thing really to do that with is Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin, it's a little bit in the red. Obviously, I would expect a little bit more red at some point. But if you measure the losses in comparison to all these altcoins, I mean, it's just been horrendous, absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. So a larger Bitcoin position is always required when dealing with the crypto market. And again, this is something I reiterate all the time, especially on the streams. That my process of trading is with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is my trading pair. I flip Bitcoins basically, and occasionally I will be forced to sell them, or I feel the need to sell them, but very rarely. And like I say, I sold on the way down after the Omicron, or just before the Omicron dump. It's the first time I've sold Bitcoin since it reached 20,000. I took chips off the table at 20,000 for obvious reasons. Didn't want to. I expected a bigger pullback. That was the last time I sold Bitcoin prior to this. Not really sold any of it throughout any of this. Anyway, it was a big deal to sell some. I did sell much, about a third of what I had. And I've only been buying Bitcoin back. I mean, there's been the occasional little flirt with some altcoins, but generally, no, it's pretty much all Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's the ammunition that I will need later down the line to trade between alts. And like I say, you're going to get hurt one way or another if we continue to keep going down. But I mean, what would you prefer? 0.5%, or what? 19%, or 17, 14, 25? The occasional one comes in the green, whatever this is. Never seen this. What's up there? But then back into the sea of red. 24, 7, 7, 12, 12, 18. It just goes on and on. And look, I hold some of these altcoins. I just saw Algorand is down by 20%. I mean, I hold Algorand. It's I've had that for years now, just staking away in Coinbase. So I'm with you on some of these things, certainly. But generally speaking, I mean, Bitcoin is the only thing to focus on during this period. If you're going to incrementally buy back, I mean, it's not for me to advise anybody, but for me, it makes sense to only really go hard and heavy into Bitcoin on each leg down. So we are having a nice reaction, well, I say nice, a reaction, let's just say, from the summer low zone, and this is something that we've been looking for and waiting for, and we are having a reaction from here. But Look, if the Nasdaq's got anything to show us, which is that without buyers, we're not going to get green candles. We need to see buyers stepping in and get those green candles. And at the moment, Nasdaq is actually it's not very green at all. It's not very green at all. I mean, it's a little bit green, but to be honest, it's not looking particularly good. And we did measure this out on the stream last night, and we were saying, look, this is a support, and maybe it will hold. If it breaks, that's a further 10%. That would be a very good area to think about buying, certainly. And if it doesn't, we're down another 10%, back down to the pre-pandemic high before the drop. And look, participants in any markets, you want to take part in markets that generally have charts that only go up. And if you think about what we're looking at here, this is your Nasdaq here. It generally does only go up. There are obviously big peaks and big drops, and there are big peaks and drops, and peaks and drops, peaks and drops, peaks and drops. So there are peaks and drops. But generally, what we look at, what we can take away from a chart like this, is that it generally only goes up. So that in itself is a chart that requires some attention to anyone who ever wants to invest into anything, right? It is similar to a Bitcoin chart. It's one of those charts that only generally goes up. Obviously, we look at it on a larger term time frame, and you've got to take a stab at it at some point. And the best time to stab at any kind of up-only chart is at supports. And this is the first one really that I would be particularly interested in. But with the inflation report and what I expect to happen within the next, until the next report comes through, turbulence, volatility, madness, bearish sentiment, and lack of confidence in the markets could easily bring this down by another 10%. So transfer that information over to Bitcoin, a 10% drop from where we are right now. Specifically right now, we are a 10% drop would take us to 27, which actually is, my next buy order is at 27. We can only assume that Bitcoin will emphasize whatever Nasdaq does, let's just say by double, and it brings us down to this major support around here, 24. And we'll see if we can resolve the issues around there. But you can only imagine what that'll do to altcoins. It's not going to look good, but you know what it will do? It'll start to bend this Bitcoin dominance chart around to nice areas where we can navigate through some of these altcoin charts and look for some serious situations where we can think about recuperating and earning ourselves some more Bitcoin. So good things come to those who wait, like I say, and the best trades are the ones that are done, I suppose, really on weekly term time frames and sitting back and just chilling. So let the market do its thing, whether it goes up or down, doesn't really matter. Opportunity will materialize at some point shortly, probably at some point towards the end of this year. But we are still at the mercy of the bigger picture, which is CPI reports, rate hikes, Federal Reserve monetary policy, and also, talk about kicking a man when they're down. Inflation's will struggle to come down with all these other geopolitical situations. We've got Ukraine, obviously, with our fuel prices. We've got also food issues from there as well. And then we've also, on top of that, we also have China and the lockdowns and the implications of the supply chain disruption. So it's there is a lot of things. There's a trio of things, really big deal things. And each one individually would be a problem, but all three at the same time is a really bad problem. So all those three things at the same time, obviously, is it's a bit hard to digest that information accurately and try and picture how it's going to go in the long run. It could get better, it could get worse. There could be a fourth contender for inflation at some point soon. Who knows? Who the hell knows? But unfortunately, in between now and this time next month, when we get the next report coming through, probably sideways and down, I would imagine. But dead cat bounces or just serious bounces can occur. If anyone ever paid any attention to previous bear markets, there was some serious bouncing going on in those. Now, obviously, the entire economy is in a bear market right now, and so we can't expect crypto to perform in the same way that it did around here. This was a bubble pop bear market. This is much more of a broader situation. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we've come back down to the summer lows, from a previous high all the way down to here, 58% retracement. We did that obviously last summer. We did a lot faster, 54% retracement. But it's not looking particularly strong, I have to say. But look, I'm a buyer, and I will buy incrementally on the way down. And then when I've finished with that, and I'm living in my cardboard box, I will be closely watching for my Bitcoin dominance chart to reach support so I can flip those Bitcoins. Anyway, I thought I'd leave it with you there. There's nothing much more to say. I've got to get in the car now, pick up the kids, and tell them about the nature of the market. And yeah, hopefully that won't ruin their evening. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day, and take it easy.